What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that likes to read Shakespeare to dogs, JC. He's still eating, by the way.
I meant to do it when we came on, but
Yeah,
I
then you
sipped
lost
my
it.
drink instead. Yeah, I
It's
forgot.
all right. Gotta hydrate before you eat.
Exactly. That was the thing. That was my first time I stopped eating since last week. So I deserved a well-deserved drink there.
He's gorging and binging and eating all over the place. So there it is. We've got a lot to talk about. We had NXT Vengeance Day. We've got Raw SmackDown. We've got worrying kind of about the chamber a little bit here. We'll see how that pans out, as well as if we talk about AEW, Grand Slam, or AEW, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we feel about
Neither
that.
of us watch Grand Slam, so if we talk about it, you shouldn't take it seriously. But we'll do that at the end.
I mean, do they take it seriously?
No, they did not.
So why should we? If they can't ship a ring over, then why should we give a shit? That's all I got to say about that.
I mean, I feel like that's not that uncommon. But
pish posh.
yeah.
Anyway, where would you like to start, JC?
Do you want to start with NXT or do we want to jump to the other stuff first?
Sure, let's do NXT since it's
Yeah, because you know what, Nestlemania, NXT always stands and delivers. That'll be coming up in a few months. But this past week was Vengeance Day in Nestlemania. We started off with a banger for the North American Championship, and my Chilean princess is the new North American Women's Champion.
I mean, you're not going to get anything bad from me on this because she is as advertised, as we say. So Fallon Henley, I think they said she had 4 or 5 defenses already. So I feel like at least she got a little bit of her reign in there. But the minute she went up for the spiral tap, I was like, this is insane. And everything, Booker T needs to calm himself down with that move. It sounds like the man's having a pants off dance off. It's really uncomfortable.
Can you blame him?
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying, calm yourself. That's all.
The woman comes out wearing horns at him. It's already getting you feeling a certain kind of way.
Well, that's true.
She knows what she's doing. She's a star, and she's also incredible in the ring. Like her and Julia, the future of NXT right now is just so bright in that women's division as usual.
Well, I will say one thing though is that Fallon Henley has always been somebody that I think deserves more. So I'm glad she got this moment to have the North American Championship. I hope that Fatal Influence, I was going to say Fatal Attraction, I hope they continue and I hope they get to the main roster because I feel like JC Jane is like in what I like to call, this is like the Bermuda Triangle of NXT. Once you hit that 2-year threshold, it's like shit or get off the pot.
I think it's been longer than that, but I think with her, I think like they see her like as that Zoe Stark ilk where she is so valuable in between the ropes that there's a reason why she continues to like just end up in these other factions. But so I do think her and Fallon got to get up and maybe Jasmine comes for the ride because as the Miz would say, Nestlemania, she is too fucking hot not to be on TV. But we move on to the next match, which was also a banger because Nestlemania. Did Fraxium wrestle?
I believe so.
And you know what happens when Fraxium wrestles? We get a banger. I don't even give a shit about this fucking stupid ass tag team they face, Briggs and the dude from overseas. Don't give a fuck. But fucking Fraxium just puts on banners and I was entertained.
I can't in my mind, like on paper, say to myself that this is a good tag team. Like,
Yeah,
but
so
like
good.
the minute the match begins, you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ. And like Briggs did a great job in this match, taking a lot of offense and making it look like he was concussed. And then I'm gonna fuck up his name, the other guy. I'm sorry. It's like I thought this was a coming out party for him, but then they were on commentary being like, I think they mentioned like, oh, his chops are like Gunther, and I was just like, what? Like I don't know. I just felt like that was a little like we can say hyperbolic on this program. We usually do, but I felt like we're trying a little too hard to sell the used car on that one. That's all I thought about that. It is what it is. That's all. So it is what it is. But I will say, I'm curious your thoughts about what transpired after the match.
Yeah, the new faction that has been being teased, attacked. I believe it's 4 of them. The only one that has really been on NXT TV was, I believe his name is Dion Lennox. He was kind of, it's weird because him attacking people, it like makes no sense based on his past character, but I guess they'll explain it with like his building frustrations or whatever. But I think these are all just like superstar NIL athletes they have, and they're trying to get them on TV. Obviously a little worried that it's a little retribution-y, which you know how I feel about that. But you know what? I'm going to give it a chance because, you know, these guys, who knows? Maybe they're really good and we're going to find out.
I will say this much. I liked the ferocity in which they came out. I liked the masks.
I like the same Retribution mask though.
No, I know
It's
it's
different.
Shield too. It felt very Shieldish too,
Yeah.
which you can't replicate something that was A++. So I feel like, you know, my worry about this entire thing is, as I looked at, like, they showed pictures of them and who they are, like, as a lineup together as a stable, I just went, they just look like a bunch of guys. Like,
that's how they always look like,
yeah.
though. That's why I'm willing to give this a chance, because like I said, like, I mean, we've seen a little bit of Lennox, but the rest of we haven't seen it all. Like, it's one of those, like, we just gotta see him. Because remember when the Nexus showed up, you know who the one I fucking hated the most because he looked like a fucking moron and didn't fit in with everyone was Heath Slater. You know who became my favorite member of that entire thing? So it's just one of those, like, who knows? Who knows if this will be a flop, but it's always hard when you're debuting people. You don't know anything about them. They clearly see something in these four guys. The fact that they're debuting them like this on a PLE, they're hyped. They attack this match and also the NXT Championship match later in the night. So I'm willing to see how it plays out. But yeah, it definitely, I didn't love the debut, but I'm at least giving it a chance here.
Okay. That's fine.
Next up, Nussel. This was the one that had a lot of people obsessed, including the crowd, just flummoxed. That idiot Eddie Thorpe beat Trick Williams in the strap match.
You know, there were two trains of thought that went through my mind, and somebody else tweeted it out. So I know I'm not the only one thinking about this, right? One was Eddie Thorpe whipping Trick Williams during Black History Month.
He is Native American, so maybe
that was my other thought. That was my other thought. Was like,
no, it ain't crazy.
Native American with a leather strap. I don't know. And it's weird because I haven't really, I'll be honest with you, I haven't really sat down to dissect an Eddie Thorpe match. And then when I watched this match, when I went and watched this match, I went, it's like the worst parts of Donovan Dijak and The Miz. Like, it just felt like, and those two are great. Don't get me wrong. I love Dijak and I love The Miz, but they are them for a reason. And it's like, I'm watching like Samu, Miz, and Dijak in this random hodgepodge thing. And I kept thinking, and then he fucking won. Like, the way he won was so anticlimactic that I was just like, oh. And then the crowd got hot about it. And all
and it's just like, it's Trick. Like, what we thought this was a layup for Trick to set up Trick Oba, but clearly we have to do fucking Thorpe Oba again. But just like, it's one of those, like, Eddie Thorpe, I've like, whenever he's come on my television, I'm just like, eh. It's always been eh. And like the heel turn, it's like, okay, at least now I can hate the guy because they're clearly shoving him down our throat for whatever reason. And then you find out he's fucking dating Dakota Kai. It's like, wow, fuck this guy even more. But it's just, he's not that great in the ring to me. His character isn't good. His promos, like, as a whiny heel, is his best version, but like, I don't know. I don't get it. And that's why I'm waiting for someone to explain it to me. But there's a reason why they continue to push him, because he's been hovering around this main event scene now for a while. And this certainly, like, this wasn't even a PLE win necessarily. This was a PLE win over one of the faces of NXT, which I know they probably feel like Trick's indestructible, which he pretty much is down there. But like, man, they must really like this kid, and I don't get it, but they clearly do.
Well, I'd like to put a wrench in our plans if you're watching on UPN or CW, as we would say. Obafemi was stopped by Moose.
Oh, Nestlemania. Hashtag Nestle's hopes come true. And by that, I mean, what he doesn't hope for always comes true.
Everybody is excited about Moose except me. That's basically what it comes to.
No one's excited about Moose. People are excited about Moose and Oba because Nestlemania, it is the two meatiest men from each brand meeting. Like, that's the whole point of this fucking crossover. It's when you look at the roster, you're like, none of those guys I want to see wrestle Oba except for that big fucking behemoth Moose.
I don't know. He doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, he doesn't either. But him in the ring with Oba, that does something for me as a meat man. I'm not wearing the shirt, but as a meat man, that's the gold standard of meat right there.
I don't know. I just feel like Oba is head and shoulders and then head and shoulders and then head and shoulders above.
You think Oba's going to lose to him? No.
Fuck no.
He's just another. Here's the thing. Would I rather watch Oba squash Eddie Thorpe again, or would I rather watch Oba fucking meet the shit out of Moose? Yeah, give me Moose all day.
Moose just reminds me of Titus O'Neil. I don't know what it's like. The way they move is so similar. It's ridiculous.
I'm not going to touch that one, but
I'm just saying,
I know what you mean. But I'm not going to touch it.
That's all. That's all.
We had another surprise coming up next with the second straight heel victory with All Ego Ethan Page beating Javon Evans. I really enjoyed this match. I've liked this feud here. I've really felt it. It's one of those where it really gave you reasons to dislike Ethan Page, and it really gave you more reasons to root for Javon. I think they have good chemistry in the ring, which is why I think they've let this thing go as long as it has. But I did think that this was going to be Javon's comeuppance. I was surprised that Ethan got the win.
I actually wasn't surprised. I probably should have picked Ethan Page. Neither of us did.
I know. I just said I expected Javon to win.
I'm listening to you. I'm telling you, you're right. But the thing that I thought about too is that if Javon won, it would have just been then what? And I feel like they don't really have. I don't think they really have anything other for Ethan Page and Javon to do right now, so they're going to be stuck doing that for a while.
There's someone I'd like to see Ethan mess around with in my comeback, but we'll get
all right. Well, there you go. There you go. Maybe.
But we got to close out the rest of this card. Oba retains as well in the triple threat against Waller and Theory, who obviously had to butt heads a little bit, but once again, we had the new faction attacking.
So I like the power bomb on this one. Yeah. I like that they kind of ran out and stuff. I get that. But I think the hardest part is I'm not saying there are a lot of things NXT does incredibly well.
Everything.
I just don't know if they do the production lighting kind of stuff as well as if you're on SmackDown and Raw, because of obviously the size.
The same budget, bro.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It just feels like you can't have Penta's entrance in NXT. Yes, you know what I mean? So what?
I was answering Joe's comment. Yes, he correctly said the drink I'm drinking. It's a peppermint White Russian.
I just thought he said he was a White Russian. That's all.
No, I'm not a White Russian. I do like me some White Russians, but
okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a little peppermint in it, Joe. It's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, new faction attacking here too. You think it's just to get them on there twice, go after both men's titles that were on the shows?
I mean, any of those four are going to be anywhere close to Obafemi, so I don't know.
Yeah, feels that way as well. Main event, Nestlemania, fatal four-way. Julia retaining a Boehner. Valkyrie comes out after the match to pose with her, and then Jordan Grace interrupts, so she will at least through WrestleMania, probably till pre-draft, at least be spending her time in NXT, which is probably the right decision because, as we know in WrestleMania season, there's going to be a lot of people left off, so you might as well give her the spotlight down here.
Yeah, I will say this much. This fatal four-way, as I was watching it, there was one thing that stuck out to me, which was Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, the best women's wrestler on the planet.
And it's not even close.
Not even close.
And when I was watching this, and there's no disrespect for the three other people in the ring.
Because they're also amazing.
They are, but she is so much better. Like, when I was watching Cora Jade, I was like, it felt like she was trying her best to keep up, and she just didn't have the same steps and speed and coordination that Roxanne Perez does. And then Bayley kind of like makes me feel like she's in this weird paradox in my brain where I love her, but as I watch her, I think like something's missing and something doesn't feel right for me as a viewer. So I don't enjoy what she's doing right now. And it's very difficult. And then you get to Julia, which again, I know you're gonna say how much wonderful she is, and she is.
She's great,
but she's not Roxanne Perez. And
that's like watching the NBA and being like, that guy's not LeBron James.
I don't know. I'm
watching the NFL being like,
I think honestly,
is it Patrick Mahomes?
As I was watching this match, I thought that all other three of those women did not have a good outing. And Roxanne Perez was the MVP of that match and probably the MVP of the night, in my opinion.
She's incredible.
And honestly, I thought Julia was incredibly underwhelming and unimpressive in that match to me. It felt like she was just sitting there waiting for something to happen, and then she collected the pinfall. I mean, towards the end, it made sense, but I just felt like the Fatal 4-Way, I understand they probably want to do that for obvious reasons, but I just felt like it didn't do anybody any service except for Roxanne Perez to be like, wow, this woman is special. And I was just, every time I saw the other three, I went, oh God, this is just terrible. Just terrible. Get him out of here. Let Roxy just wrestle everybody.
So. Well, WrestleMania, we're going to move to the Shine now because I am starting my Shine with the banner we got on Monday Night Raw, where once again featured the best women's wrestler alive, Roxanne Perez, defeated Raquel Rodriguez to get the final spot in the Women's Elimination Chamber. And Nestlemania, I'm looking at this chamber and I'm going, holy shit. We might get Rhea Roxanne Mania. And then I thought, holy shit, that's what I want. Because what did I say a couple months ago on this program about Rhea's title opponent at WrestleMania? I said, this shit is wide open. I kind of threw Jordan Grace out there, but it's like, sometimes the best answer is right in front of your face. And it's like, why not take the best fucking wrestler they have that's been next to you for a few years, that has now solidified herself as a pretty good heel character-wise, is now called up to Raw. Like, it's just like, it's one of those things, like they already gave her the Iron Woman in the Rumble. They could say she won the Elimination Chamber. So even if she doesn't beat Rhea at WrestleMania, like her resume, kicking off her main roster career, like that's how you present someone like Roxanne Perez. Because like you said, when you watch her in the ring, no fucking contest. No fucking contest. But if someone turns on their TV and sees her for the first time, they're going to be like you, be like, oh, she's a little size shamer. But you see this woman in the ring and you're blown away. So I was watching this and I'm thinking, holy shit, they might do this. Now, granted, there are other women in there that possibly could be it, but I was like, I think I'm all for this because it's something fresh, something new, something I think most people wouldn't expect. And I think for Rhea, most importantly, it's something brand new for her. So I'm like, why not try this? Because you already got Tiffy Charlotte as the other one, as we expected. And it's like a lot of the other women, it's like, who knows? Like maybe Bianca wins this if they do Jade and Naomi or something. But it's like they seem like they're in their own little world. It's like, why not just give it to your golden goose? The next one, like the 4 horsewomen, like we just talked about with Bailey and like Charlotte's older. It's like it's the new generation. Like Roxanne is going to be the face of this new generation. Like Tiffy's there now, but it's just like Roxanne's so good. It's like I'm all in for it. Let's do it. We'll see if it happens, but I'm all for it.
I don't believe in my mind that there's anybody besides Belair and Roxy. Like I love the chamber that there is.
They could do Live Again,
but I don't think they will.
I don't think they will because I think they might be tag champions going into Mania.
I think you're right about that too. I think the safest bet is Bianca because the rest of it doesn't make any damn sense to me. Like I'm get excited when you talk about the Roxanne stuff or Roseanne, depending on who you ask.
God bless her.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. You have one job to do.
I know.
Get it right. She'll never get that wrong again though. But nope. As I think about it, like Bliss and Nia seem to be a thing, so that's probably not going to happen. The tag champs don't seem to be a thing. I think Liv's going to be a tag. Like it just seems very messy to me. It just feels like it's Bianca or it's, excuse me, or it's Roxanne Perez. I don't know. I just feel like that's it, but I'm going to stick with Belair. That just seems like the easy slam dunk here.
Well, I think next week is obviously we'll talk about it later in the finish, but it is a big tentpole in terms of what's going to happen with Bianca because they're obviously fighting for the tag titles. And is that the spot Jade returns, or do they save it for Chamber? Do they do it after? Like, it feels like we're closer because they finally acknowledged it on SmackDown this week. But we'll get to that a little more in the hope. But yeah, that's how I wanted to kick off the shine because I thought it was great. But Nestlemania, we had a couple bangers this week, but I want to go to the main event of SmackDown because if you give me that triple serving of meat, you think I'm not going to put that high in my shine? Oh, Nelly. Priest, Braun, and Fatu. That's a lot of meat for me to get my mouth around and just enjoy. Damian Priest obviously wins and qualifies as expected. But yeah, Nestlemania. This was a meat spectacular, and I enjoyed it.
I mean, there was a lot going on in that match.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like, there was a lot of gaga. But that's okay. That's okay. It was triple meat. It was a triple three-way, is what we call it. It was a meaty three-way.
Yeah.
Sauce, mayo, cheese. It was great.
Sir.
It was delicious.
Only people in Massachusetts and specifically people who have eaten in the North Shore know what that means. But
sauce, mayo, cheese, baby. Sauce, mayo, cheese. That's what we got. But probably should be a t-shirt at this point. Sauce, mayo, cheese. We should probably make that with a little. Never mind.
You're making me hungry. Stop talking about it.
I need some roast beef.
I don't get to the North Shore as much these days, so I haven't had it in a while.
The next time I see you, I'll drive to the North Shore, get you some sauce, mayo, cheese. Is what we'll do.
Killing me.
Yeah. No, but like, listen. I guess this is, maybe we can talk about this here. Maybe we can't. You tell me yes or no.
Yeah, we can talk about all that SmackDown not because there was a lot of moving parts to SmackDown all night. I got it all in the shine, but I just wanted to start with the meat.
No, I tend to agree. I think I was shocked. Like in my head, I thought there's a chance Jacob could win this. And then obviously other things unraveled, but like Priest made the most sense based on whoever else is in the chamber. So yeah, I get that, but I don't know. I'm curious how you feel about the other parts that were part of SmackDown.
So yeah, we can kind of run through it here quickly. So obviously the night started with Cody. He was interrupted by Drew. Then out came Jacob. Solo does return. Jacob wants to talk to him. And the big thing, and one of the first big things in the back, is that Solo told Jacob he loved him. So put a pin in that, because then later we get that, and obviously we get to the main event. Solo's obviously involved there. But he accidentally spikes Tama. Cody runs in. We have all this nonsense. So we're probably getting Cody Solo, but we also seem to have Jacob and Solo kind of pitted against each other because of some misunderstandings. So I'm curious, do we think that might be their Mania match?
Does that get me excited? Probably not.
Are you kidding me? The physicality of Jacob versus the physicality of Solo, the two men who have been the bodyguards for the last two Tribal Chiefs. Come on, Nestlemania. Come on. No. That match would bang, bro.
No. I don't. Yeah. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. I think what's going to happen here is something odd that we're not going to expect. Like, it just feels odd to me. Like, it'll be a 6-man tag or something where it'll be like Solo, Sammy, and Jimmy against the three of those goons. That's what I feel like would end up happening here.
I don't think Sammy and Jimmy are going to be teamed with Solo. I don't think Solo's not turning babyface from this. Jacob,
I don't know. It's a brother.
Jacob might become the babyface. You've been listening to the fucking crowd.
Listen, I know
you can't do that. Like, Solo is one of the best heels they got. It makes so much sense if they're going to commit to turning Solo that you commit to turning Jacob that you use fucking Solo. Solo's a fucking layup, man. He gets so much heat so easily. And it's just one of those, like you said, we got 2 months till WrestleMania. We talked about it last week with Jay and Gunther, but it's like they have 2 months to set up Jacob versus Solo, and it'll be Jacob's coming out party, but also give a Mania match to Solo, who well deserves it. And it's interesting because we know Triple H loves the fucking Samoans, and it's some of the best fucking writing they do on actual SmackDown. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, in the short term, Cody and Solo feels like, I don't know, they got another Saturday main event or something. It feels like it might be on that because Chamber seems pretty full at this point. Or maybe they just do it on a SmackDown. But it feels like that'll happen, and maybe that's where Jacob sometimes gets involved or something, because I don't know. It's a lot of moving parts with it, but at least caught my attention being like, okay, they do have a plan for these guys. Because I was a little worried. I think we talked about it the last couple of weeks, like, do we know what they're doing with this new bloodline now that like the old bloodline beat them? So
Joe Pollock, our Joe Stopper, says, I never bought Solo as a babyface in NXT.
He ain't a babyface. He's a fucking heel, bro. Jacob can be a babyface because the crowd's telling you they want to be a babyface. Same thing with Tiffy. Crowd told them long enough, like, we want to cheer for her. They're like, okay, fine.
I don't know. I just
babyface.
I don't know. It's just weird to me because I feel like, what do you do with the Tongans? You know, but like, I don't know.
They're a tag team, bro. There's a tag team division. They'll be fine. Tonga Loa is still out. He's getting a second eye patch installed. So
how is he going to see? Wouldn't it be ironic if he could see John Cena with his 2 eye patches?
That would be funny.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think? Anything else that's super exciting?
Oh, yeah. We can go to Monday Night Raw because AJ Styles and Dom, I very much enjoy. I enjoyed that we're going to get Braun versus AJ, and I love Braun. So AJ being smart enough to move and Braun spearing Dom by mistake.
All I thought about was, are we going to live in a world where it's a triple threat match and Dom ends up winning the Intercontinental Championship by accident? Like, what a fucking thing that would be. What a fucking thing that would be.
I don't think that'll happen because we have a long time. Who knows if this is even the Mania match? This might be. I mean, like you said, we have 2 months, but I would be fine with a Braun AJ WrestleMania match. But it feels like this might get wrapped up before then.
I have a feeling. I don't know anything, but there is a feeling inside my body that feels like it is going to be Braun Breaker and Penta. I don't know why.
I mean, that's what I hope for, like the week after Penta debuted. So I'm all for it.
So I don't know.
I think it makes a lot of sense because in terms of like the mid card, like they're the 2 hottest guys you got. Fucking just do it. Just do it. And you know, those 2 will go all out. It'll be physical. Oh yeah. I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
And you buried the lead. Braun ripped his shirt and AJ just grabbed it out of thin air.
He did the Roman with Roman catch a mic or something?
Yeah, from Brock Lesnar. And then he winked at him. That was far more impressive in my opinion, but it was still pretty impressive that he caught Braun's shirt. But it made me laugh. It made me laugh because I just thought, what a way to bring AJ Styles back, right? Like in my head, like not saying that he was dead in terms of thing, but
I mean, he was pretty severely injured.
He was severely injured. It felt like he was circling the drain. It felt like everything he was doing was very stale.
Yeah, part-time guy. What do you expect?
And then he came back, and I was just like, what? Like, obviously he shredded, anyway, but man is a phenomenal human being. And then you see him come back and you're like, yeah. Like, now I'm buying it. I mean, it probably was that stupid music too that bothered me, but
hey, we got it back.
I don't want none. That's all.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So they're like when you have a part-time guy like AJ, you just keep him a baby face.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it to make him a heel.
All right. What else you got?
I have one last piece of shine, but I don't know if you're gonna like it. But Nestlemania, you see my name here is Mello Do Miz. That was an allusion to the backstage segment between Carmelo and the Miz, where Miz tried to say we could be a tag team, Mello Do Miz, and I was just like, he plays the awkward white guy so well. It's great. I want more of him and Mello together. But I did enjoy Miz and LA Knight on the mic because then it reminded me like, they've done this before. It was pretty good. Knight obviously won, which like whatever. But then stared down with Nakamura, which is even more whatever. But it's just like Nakamura is really going to go into WrestleMania with this fucking thing, isn't he? Because I'm assuming he's going to retain against LA Knight. But I mean, look it, Mello Do Miz, I'm all in on that. And the Miz cutting promos, I'm all in on that. So it's shine for me.
Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off.
I saw your tweet.
I will say this much. I do believe that Triple H is not a Miz guy. Like,
he probably isn't, but like the Miz is just. There's a reason they moved him to SmackDown WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, it's USA.
No, with the third hour, it's just like the Miz is the perfect guy for that. So it's like it's one of those like, and I mean, Road Dogs are in the show now, but it's just like it was always like the Pritchard show too, and he can work with a guy like Miz easy. So
I just feel like no matter, and again, I think this is throughout the Miz's entire career. I don't think that Triple H has ever really seen Miz as a prime time player.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to because he's not a prime player anymore. He's the perfect guy to get guys over.
I understand that. I'm just saying I think the Miz is underutilized in terms of what his capacity could and should be. And I think that Triple H has his favorites, the Ciampas and the Garganos, the Pete Dunnes, and you can go on
Are they
and
his favorite, those? Because those guys are feel like in the lower, if not
Gargano and Ciampa certainly
they're in like the same or the lower tier as the Miz for most of their run under Triple H. Gargano and Ciampa are champs now.
They're tag champs.
They were literally feuding and in fucking thing with the Miz for the
I'm just saying. All right. Calm yourself. I'm just saying that the Triple H era is not been kind of the
awesome Truth to win the titles at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's because Truth is amazing. He likes Truth.
I think Triple H gets it. Even if Miz isn't his favorite, Triple H still gets it. He knows how to use him, but it's also like the Miz ain't fucking 25, 30 years old anymore in WrestleMania. So it's like he knows what his use is. I think the Miz knows what his use is. He's like, yeah, give me the younger guys. Give me the guys who have a chip on their shoulder. Let me work with them, and I'm going to fucking spin them out better than they were when they started with me. So
I just think that it's a crime. That's all. As I watch, I get very upset because I feel like the Miz deserves his.
The man has goddamn more titles than almost everyone on the roster, besides maybe Kofi.
He needs one more. Just one more.
He'll probably get another mid-card title.
One more. That's all.
Or a tag title.
No, fuck the tag title.
He ain't going to be a world champion again. He did that. He put over Bobby Lashley, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just saying.
Well, we're in your segment now, so go through your heats.
All right, so there's some random things. There's a backstage segment with Seth Rollins. He basically says fucking nothing. And then they cut the fucking Karrion Kross, who cuts a promo on Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Seth Rollins. Excuse me. And all I kept thinking about was Seth Rollins said nothing. Like
always.
I was sitting there thinking to myself, wow, like what a fucking waste of my 1 minute and 30 seconds. And then Kross came out and I went, wow, he did something with that 1 minute and 30 seconds. And it's fucking ridiculous to me because I was sitting there thinking, in what world do I live in where I'm actually excited to see Karrion Kross and not Seth Rollins?
I want to play this tape for you 6 months ago.
I know. It's unfucking real. I don't understand it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, at least he had a fucking point. At least Karrion Kross had a point. All Seth Rollins is I swear to God, like obviously in between the ropes, you can't deny the man is a fucking special human being. But when you get him in front of a microphone, all I kept thinking about was, what the fuck are you doing?
He's like, always what been are you doing? Way. That's why he has cool music because he needs it.
It is apparent to me. This is the biggest thing that I'm sitting there. He bitches and complains all his entire career about not being the top guy. Well, you know what? That was a perfect example on why you're not the tippy top guy, because you waste a minute and 30 seconds of my fucking time because all you do is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Excuse me. Awful. Just fucking dreadful. Give the spot to Cross.
I mean, I enjoyed that rant because you know how I feel about it. But I will say this: I fell asleep right when the main event started, so I don't know what happened. But I know he qualified, obviously. But yeah, I just realized that I never rewatched it, but I fell asleep the minute he came out into his entrance. That's the last thing I remember.
Joe is saying that Cross does something positive. Nestle still puts him in the heat. Listen, it's not about Cross. It's not about Cross. It's not about Cross. It's about Seth Rollins. That's all I want to say about that. I should have put Cross in the shine, then hit the button and gone on to Rollins. That's a faux pas on my pretending part. But here, listen. Everybody was fucking jerking off about Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor having a fucking match.
I'm sure it was great.
It was a fine match. It was fine. I will say this much. As much as I do not want to give Seth Rollins credit, there was something that transpired in this matchup that I thought was worth putting in here. There was a moment where the pedigree happened and Finn Balor didn't kick out in time, and the ref almost had to stop the count, and they were all booing the referee. And when that happens, this is something that they teach you. They're like, the one thing you don't want to do is put the heat on the referee because it takes away from the match. The heat
you suck.
Right.
Because
then it takes away from the matchup and everybody's distracted. You need the heat to get back onto the heel. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Seth Rollins looked at the referee and went, suck it. And everybody popped. He acknowledged that there was a fuck up, and then they moved on, and I went, that's a fucking pro right there. He sucks at promos. Don't give a fucking flying fuck about him and his backstage promos. But that was a good fucking save on Seth Rollins' part. But again, I don't think it was a great match. I think it's fine. But anybody that thinks Finn Balor has a chance of doing anything ever again, I would hedge your bets on that.
Yeah, he's still one of the jobbers to the stars.
I don't know. He was
just a
weird
tag champion, so he can definitely win championships, just not the big one.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm curious how you feel about this Tiffy time and Trish versus Nia and company.
It's filler, bro.
It's in Toronto, but
yeah, like when I saw Trish there, I'm like, well, we're getting this in some capacity. I'm like, please don't put her in a singles match, and thank God they didn't do that. So, I mean, it's one of those things like by having Tiffy and Charlotte at Mania, you're committing to Tiffy as a babyface. So obviously the crowd's been cheering for her. But to solidify her position as a babyface, you put her with the fucking hometown fucking beloved woman. So yeah, it makes sense. When I rank the matches at Elimination Chamber in terms of excitement, this will be at the bottom, with way down the bottom, because everything else will be great, and this is just kind of there. But I get why they're doing it. The crowd will love it. It'll probably be good television, and it's important for Tiffy. So,
just not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah, it's going to be the
Trish Stratus's last run was, well, just not Stratus.
I never need to see her and Becky together again, because I will have PTSD with how bad that feud was.
Something else that really just, in theory, I'm like, this is like a broken record for us on the program, because we always say, like, sometimes it's the lead up that's amazing and the match doesn't happen really well, and then other times the lead up kind of sucks and the match will be great, right? This Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn unsanctioned thing. In theory,
bother you.
I know this match will fucking bang in Toronto. I know that. And I know I'm probably wasting my breath with this.
Yeah.
But it's me. And I can't help myself. Yeah. So here's my thought process, JC. And I want you to explain to me, because sometimes you do a very good job putting me in a pretzel and making me kiss my
I might
own
disappoint you with this one, but let's see.
All right, let's see. So my question to you is, it's unsanctioned, right? Yep. Adam Pearce has this whole blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not official. It's unsanctioned. Okay, great. He made a line about the referee, about them not having a referee. And I'm thinking to myself, do you think there's going to be a special guest referee for this matchup, or there's going to be some type of not official thing going on here?
I mean, the match has to end at some point, so someone has to call the match at some point.
Right.
So there'll be something of some. Maybe it's Adam Pearce runs out and goes like that.
Okay. It's just interesting, that one line, because I was thinking to myself, could they get a special guest referee? That's something in Toronto. I don't know.
The Mountie?
Maybe he always gets his man. So I don't know. Maybe, perhaps. PCO is probably available too, but that's beside the point. It just racked my brain. And then here's the other thing, and I know this is probably, again, small peanuts, but this is my brain in my head. If you go back to HBK versus Triple H in the unsanctioned match when Shawn Michaels came back at SummerSlam, I'm fairly certain, and I'll look it up in a second, fairly certain that went on last or second to last or something like that. I feel like in order to be unsanctioned, this match needs to go on last. And I don't think you can do that with the Chamber.
In Austin Theory, I agree with you. But there's no fucking way Cena Punk in that Chamber match isn't going last. So the other option that I would prefer was that it goes first. Do I think that'll happen? Maybe. Probably not. But yeah, there's a good chance this is the match right before the main event. And again, I understand your concern with it, but nobody's gonna fucking care because this thing's gonna be so fucking good that they could put this thing like any point in the card. It's like because I agree in Austin Theory with you, but nobody's gonna fucking care because you're gonna watch this and you're gonna be like, have the biggest maple syrup erection you've ever had in your life.
I think the problem I have, and again, you're gonna say it's wrestling, Adam. I get it, but
it is wrestling, Adam.
But my other thing is if it's truly unsanctioned, right? Wouldn't this be at the beginning or end somewhere? So it wouldn't be like
again,
on the card?
I would start the show with it, but
okay.
I don't know if they will do that.
I just feel like when you have this, it should be somewhere at the beginning or end, so it feels like it's not quote unquote part of the show. That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with you, but
when you put it in the middle of the show, it's like it's just a fucking thing. That's all.
I don't think people will care though.
I know. It's me. I'm on an island.
Again,
I get it.
That's why I say in Austin Theory, I agree with you, but when I watch this, like 99% of the rest of the audience, I will not give a fuck because this will bane. I will have so much maple syrup sugar blowing out of my body in excitement that it won't matter.
Do you think Randall will make an appearance here?
So this is the big reason why I kept saying for weeks that this match will be at Chamber when people thought this was a Mania, because I think Owens Orton is the Mania match. I don't think necessarily they have to do it here because they're in Canada. They could do it, but I think they can just save that for a SmackDown. You have these fucking month after Chamber, you're going to have a month and 3/4 lead up to Mania. It's a lot of 3-hour SmackDowns. It might be nice to have Randy return on one of those.
Did you drop your White Russian on your rug?
No. The desk thing that you pull it out with, the handle, fell off because I've been playing with the thing.
You fidget, you.
Yeah.
You can't help but fidget.
I have to have something to play with, and it's like one of the things that's off camera. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm a fidget.
Playing with yourself the whole hour?
It's either that or my foot's going to go a mile a minute, and you're going to see me look like I'm fucking bouncing. You don't want that. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm also a little. These things, the
White Russians.
I'm a number 2, and they're 13% alcohol by volume.
Wait. So you have a White Russian in a can?
Well, yeah, I don't make them.
You don't.
So my dad got these for my mom. She's not drinking as much anymore, so they got dumped on me. So, yeah, but these things, drinkers.
What are you, the garbage? What are you, an alcoholic?
Cut waters are fucking lethal, and I'm on my second one, and I'm pretty fucking tips right now.
All right. Well, we're only halfway through the program, so can you tips yourself a little bit to the right? Thank you. That's all I got to say.
I'm trying to find this handle.
Yeah. Well, keep reaching for the stars.
Yeah.
Find your junk.
Sanction your own ass, bitch.
Sanction your own ass, bitch. There you go. Great. What a fucking great line there.
It is a Rockies hat, Joe. God, when I was in Colorado.
Cares. Nobody cares about a Rockies
Joe
hat.
literally commented on. I'm responding to the comment, so that is one person who cares.
Is there anything that you found in your heat? I'm just curious as I look at the rest of the stuff.
See, I like the things that I put in the heat aren't really heat. So not really.
Okay. Totally okay.
I think for the most part, it's one of those like I knew Naomi was going to beat Chelsea, but that didn't do anything for me. It was just like a check box, but it's not really heat. It's just like procedure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, there wasn't anything that like super pissed me off this week. Besides AEW.
Well, yeah, we can get to that at some point or there. But I'm looking through the rest of my notes. Again, I don't necessarily hate anything that that happened. It just feels like there's a bunch of going on.
Then?
Let's get hopeful. That's fine.
Glorious You're my only hope. I'll go first, Adam, because we're going to talk about, I just mentioned her name, Naomi. So it was revealed on SmackDown by Nick Aldis in his very nice suit that Liv and Raquel were walking by when the attack happened with Jade. So he said it's not definitive, but there's a chance they're the real attackers. And obviously Bianca and Naomi, who want blood for their fallen friend, assumed that, yeah, it has to be Liv and Raquel. That's why we're getting the tag team title match next week. That's why I think if it isn't next week, at some point, Liv and Raquel are probably going to win those titles and go to Mania, because I think Jade's going to return. And it might be next week because people might think like, Jade wants to get retribution on Liv and Raquel. She wants to get retribution on a real attacker, which I've hoped for this before, but I'm doubling down on the hope now that we have new information, much like the attacker. Naomi has to be this fucking attacker, man. Has to be. It's like, it makes so much sense. And it's just, I think that this is I mentioned it to you off air, but the NXT storyline they had with like Trick and Mello, how it kind of got set up when the Dragunov attack and all this and that nonsense. And it turned out that it was Mello all along that was attacking. Lexis King kind of took responsibility, but was just faking it just to kind of make himself a star. So I think Liv and Raquel, the same thing. It's like, we don't like any of them. So we're going to not deny it. They didn't say that they did it, but they also didn't deny it in their interviews. So they're going to play along until Jade comes back. And she's going to look like she's going to go after them. Maybe she clears them. But then she stares at the real attacker, which is Naomi. Granted, they could go Bianca here. I will not believe a Bianca heel turn until I see it, because she is literally female John Cena. But Naomi, man, it just makes so much sense. So I'm curious what you think here. Maybe you're just like a, regular old Detective Dan, and you're like, yeah, Liv and Raquel, the attackers. I have all the information. My monocle says yes, but Nestlemania, as a former Watson, I say,
Is there more to it, or are you just dramatic pausing?
I couldn't think of anything better to say. I'm like, it'd be more effective to end on the staring at the camera.
Her face, Joe says, her face was downright heelish during the video. I cringed at poor Aldis waiting for the TV to turn on. That was the worst part of the entire segment.
That was a little awkward, yeah.
That was
our
a little
TV
awkward.
baby. Cheers.
It is what it is, and it's not his fault. The fucking truck. But
don't go blaming the behind the scenes people.
Oh, come on. It's easier that way.
Never our fault, bitch.
No, never your fault. Never the people.
I've never made a mistake in my life.
No, it's true. You're perfect in every way.
That's
what your mom tells you. Anyway, for me, I'm looking at it from a perspective of, I assume it's Naomi. But my thought is okay, let's play this out, right? Let's say it's Naomi. Is Bianca supposed to be like, well, I got a match at Mania. See you later. Don't care about this. You guys deal with it. That seems a little weird. That seems a little weird to me too.
That's what I mean. There might be more to it. I mean, originally when I thought it, I'm like, if they're doing the tag team thing, maybe it was Naomi and Bayley together, but they shipped Bayley to the other show. So that feels like very unlikely.
That's not happening.
But yeah, it's one of those like, because it feels like Jade has to kind of cost them the tag titles in some way or something, or like it has to be related, which would set it up. Maybe they do a triple threat because maybe she blames Bianca too for like whatever, but I don't know. That's why I'm like, I'm at least curious to see this, because I'm like, I'm interested to see how it plays out, because Jade might not return next week. We might just have a tag match and something happens, but it feels like now that they're acknowledging it again, that it feels like the Jade return is imminent. So it could be next week, could be at Chamber, could be the SmackDown after Chamber, but it feels like we're finally here. We've been waiting for this for months. It feels like we're finally here.
I will say this much. I hope this doesn't happen. But there was a thought that crossed my mind. I don't even know if this is even physically possible for this to work. But just hypothetically, go with me on this for a second. It's probably very lame. But is there a world we live in where Jade is somehow the person that like faked her own attack? Because I feel like that's the lamest.
They've also done that in NXT. Your boy Eddie Thorpe literally just did that to get a title match. And as we've seen,
but what would be the reason for her to put herself through the, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that one would need a little explaining.
I don't know. It just feels pretty lazy. It's just, I'm not really loving this. It feels dragged out to me. I'll be honest. And
you don't like anything. So
that's not true. That's not true at all. I like things. I like plenty of things. I just don't know if this storyline is really going to like, is Naomi a heel really better than Jade a heel? I don't think so. I don't know.
We'll find out, Adam.
Okay, Josh.
I think in this position, though, it makes the most sense for Jade to be a babyface for now. And I think we've discussed it before. It's like we've always kind of wanted to see heel Naomi. So
Do you feel that, okay, so let's go a step further.
Yes.
Let's say it's Naomi and Jade at Mania. And then there's, of course, Rhea and Bianca at Mania. Let's say, just because we're in the what if scenario, that Naomi loses, obviously. Jade gets her shit back. And then Bianca somehow, out of nowhere, beats Rhea. Do you go immediately to Belair versus Jade?
We're in a
right
real
after
messy,
Mania?
We're in a real messy brand split situation if that's happened, because Bianca and Jade are on SmackDown, Rhea's on Raw.
Right?
So I can't approve of that, Nestlemania.
Well, there's not really a brand, is there, anymore? People don't really say.
Yeah, it is a mess, but
there's a window always open for transporting.
Well, the transfer window has ended, but now they just have the do whatever the fuck we want because it's WrestleMania season window, and we'll do a draft afterwards. But
sure.
Yeah, no, it feels like I really feel like Rhea and Roxanne is the thing, because it feels like you can't just pull Bianca out of this. Like, I have to have faith that they know what they're doing with this because they've had plenty of time to figure it out. So I feel like there'll be a plan, and I'm excited to see what it is.
I'm not excited for a Jade versus Naomi one-on-one, though. I will say that much. I don't think
nobody cares what you think. You also just said you're not excited for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
I did not say that. I said the lead-up is terrible. Would you just stop putting words in my mouth, you white Russian? I think the more you drink,
the more I make sense. Because
the more annoying you are.
I don't know about that. I think you just get more annoyed because it makes me even smarter.
Exhibit A. No, you are dumber when you drink. Exhibit A. When we went to the greatest bar in Boston, and you went and you started. No. Here's a full story for all y'all. We went to a pay-per-view, right? We're sitting there. We go to the greatest bar in Boston. I think it was Halloween, Hell in a Cell around that time, because that was when the gold dust thing happened in the bathroom.
Yeah.
With the roar. And then
that's not what you think it is.
And then so Josh is sitting next to me.
Oh,
JC, who the fuck is Josh? You're sitting there and you're drunk already. You're flipping the back of some, as you said, some virgin's hoodie who was over our shoulder.
No lies detected.
And you're sitting there like fucking flipping it. And I look at you and I go, I know exactly what's going to happen. You're going to flick this guy's fucking hoodie too many times. He's going to turn around, you're going to move, and he's going to punch me right in my fucking face. And you're sitting there and you're like, well, no, it didn't. But you looked at me and you said, after he hits you, don't worry, I'll come to your defense. Like you're some type of superhero. Like you're some type of, you are going to let me get hit in the jaw at a bar for something I never did because you were too busy flicking the back of some doofus's hoodie.
Yeah, at least you know.
Some friend you are.
No, it's
some friend you are.
That's how you set it up, Adam. But no, his hood looks stupid. I was fixing it for him.
I'm just saying, don't go out with a drunk JC. That's all I'm saying.
That's not true. Everyone who goes out with me has a great time.
Not me.
You had a great time at the greatest bar.
I did.
Dump.
Yeah, it is a dump. But anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I have a lot of great stories about JC, but that's one of my favorites with the roaring in the bathroom and whatnot. That was pretty good.
Yeah, there was roaring in the bathroom and I got to roar back. So that's how you know there was a lot of virgins in that bar.
Yeah. Where are we in the program? I've lost all track.
You have to do your hope.
Oh, my hope. Here we go. All right. So I was thinking about this too, as I saw on SmackDown. We had this moment of Nia and Bliss talking back and forth. They flashed the Wyatt stuff. Do you feel in control? All that nonsense. And I thought about this. I said, okay, we all want Bliss to be part of the Wyatt family or the Wyatt Six. We feel like that's going to happen. My hope is that you hold off Bliss becoming part of the Wyatt Six and you make it the moment at WrestleMania. Like you make that the moment, because I feel like based on Bliss's connection to The Fiend and Bray Wyatt, it's like a homecoming. It'll feel good. It'll feel nice and warm and fuzzy. It'll just fit. And I just feel like she's not going to be a United States or Intercontinental Champion, I don't think, at Mania. So I feel like this would be a nice spot here to have everybody come home and be part as the whole family. I think that's a really cool moment that isn't a wrestling moment, but it'll be a character moment. So that's my hope. That she becomes the moment.
You know her former partner, tag team champion, is part of the White Six as well.
Very much so, yes.
You could do Liv and Raquel versus Alexa and Nikki coming out of Mania if you wanted to.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That didn't even cross my mind.
Like I said.
Cross my mind. Get it? Huh? I didn't even need a White Russian. Yeah, I didn't even need a White Russian for that.
But I needed a White Russian to get that to you because you didn't even come up with it. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Drunk JC better than Adam every day of the week.
Fact, not opinion. Don't call it a comeback. Not 20 minutes after we finish recording our show last week, Nestlemania. Hashtag JC's hopes came true. Ricky Starks literally walked out in NXT and was like, I'm fucking here. I don't have a name, but I'm fucking here, baby, because you know who I am. Do you know who I am? Yeah, we know who you are, Ricky. So he might have done his thing by the time you listen to this program, more than likely, because we're recording it during NXT. But yeah, I have to give Ricky Starks my comeback. It is probably the fastest a JC Hope has ever come true. Like I said, it was legitimately like 20 minutes. And I am so excited for Ricky Starks in NXT for all the reasons I listed last week. But the man's a fucking stud, man. He is a stud. He is going to take the NXT world by storm, universe, whatever the fuck we're in. He's taking it by storm, damn it. And I'm very excited to see him there.
Well, look. And when I saw him, I just started dying. Like, I literally texted you and I was just like, I cannot believe this, how quick this fucking thing turned around. Like, I was sitting there shitting all over it. And then like 20 minutes later, boom, there it was. It was like the opposite of what I did.
JC Hope and a Nestle curse
combined. It was like the mega powers were like, yeah brother.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was too much. It's like, we're yin and yang, positivity and negativity coming together. And then you just get, there he is. Like it just, it's so fucking funny to me because I kept thinking to myself, he's exactly where he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But my thought is I'm going to be so interested to see what his first feud is. Because that'll be telling to me, like where he is in the pecking order right now.
I mean, it's one of those things, like as someone who loves NXT, there's a reason why Eddie Thorpe has been circling around the top. It's like they are thin up top. They have been thin up top. It's one of those things where it's like, I think that's why they had to thrust Oba up, why they've had to hold Trick there as long as possible is because, and why Ethan Page immediately got put there is because they are a little thin up top. And I think Ricky can come in, with any of those guys I just mentioned, but it's just one of those things like he's an immediate draw to the top of that show. They're probably not going to put him near the title anytime soon. And I don't think they have to, but it's one of those things like I wouldn't be surprised if he cross paths with like a Tony D'Angelo. I'm sure they'll do it with all the AEW guys, whether it's Lexis King or Ethan Page or whoever. I think Ricky Starks, Wes Lee would be a lot of fun. So I think there's a lot of possibilities. I think they're going to slow play it though, because I think it's smart. Because I think they want probably at least a 6 month to a year run with him there. Let him kind of be one of the faces before they bring him up. But there's a good chance that he isn't there long either because he is just that fucking good.
I will say this much, and I've only heard this because, again, I've heard people that are in the system that I've had a pleasure talking to, that when you come from somewhere else, if you're like a wrestler like him, they want you in the NXT system to make sure they just refine all those bad habits. Yeah. You know what I mean?
They do that with most of the people.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm not saying that Ricky's got that many bad edges, but I just feel like clearly
they need him down there though. They
do. My worry is that Trick Williams is on the up, and then like there's nothing. Like it's like Oba, and that's why Oba's facing people on Vengeance Day from the main roster. I just, you know what it is? It's just I feel like Ricky Starks needs something soon because it's thin. It's very, very thin, and I don't know.
He's just a guy there at top though to bring excitement, and I also think that like whatever guys they decide to elevate to his level, he will bring them with him because everything he does is going to feel important, and I think that's important for the men's single division right now because when you look at NXT in a weird way, it might be their weakest division.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, which is insane to say, but it's just like there's so much talent in the women's division. The tag team divisions have depth now. It's like even like the North American for the men's, like the more newcomers, like there's more people there, but like the upper echelon, like they need bodies, and Ricky's one of the best bodies you can put there.
I am curious to see what happens because he absolutely, no pun intended, he needs to be featured and heavily featured.
I wouldn't be worried about that at all, my friend.
Okay. You called me your friend. That was the nicest thing you said all day.
What's your comeback, bitch?
My comeback is one Dakota Kai getting her #1 contendership back. I don't think she's going to win, But boy, was I excited to see her, and boy, was I excited in her in purple. It just seems to work. She's a great wrestler. Ivy Nile, I feel like, will probably be the first person to beat Lyra Valkyria when, of course, Master Gable will be coming back soon. But I think right now they need some big dubs for Lyra to have some wins before she loses. So that's just my thought there. But man, Dakota Kai deserves it. I'm very excited for her. I want to see what she does. She's a stud. Let's keep the train rolling, and I hope that eventually she gets that IC title herself.
Besides her taste in men, she is fucking amazing.
Well, you know, maybe, just maybe, Eddie's a really nice guy.
He probably has a monster cock. It's gotta be it.
Yep,
you went right, finished.
You went right from that to that.
Yep, big old finish. DIY
big old monster cock.
WrestleMania. Tag titles on SmackDown. How do you feel?
Say that again. Sorry, I was too busy yelling.
DIY versus cock. Pretty Deadly for the tag titles on SmackDown.
I love Pretty Deadly, but they have had no shot in hell at winning this thing.
No chance. That's what they got.
No pants in hell.
Are you ready for more McIntyre and Jimmy Uso? Because that's what you're getting.
Oh, Big Jim's gonna lose this one on a banana peel, but it's all right. It's all right. Yeah. There's something about him where it's like everybody's like, oh, he's the funniest. I'm sure he is. I think Big Jim's great, but he is not the Yeet Master. So
that's the problem. It's like Drew McIntyre said, if only you said Yeet first.
Well, apparently
maybe you didn't get those two Deweys either.
Apparently, if you ask Logan Paul, he's the first person to say Yeet. So he said he was going to get a cease and desist on all the Yeet merchandise. So what a heel. What a heel.
Yeah.
So
next up, we go to Monday Night Raw. We have the IC title match between Lyra and Dakota, as you just mentioned. I also think Lyra will win. We also have the tag titles match, like we talked about many times in this program. Bianca and Naomi defend against Liv and Raquel.
I kind of want Liv and Raquel to do it.
I'm ready for Jade to be back. Let's get this fucking choo-choo rolling, baby.
I'm not interested. I feel like as much as they once they became a team, Naomi and Belair, I think they did a great job. What?
There's a problem. So next Monday is the 24th.
Yes.
It is the last full week of Black History Month. So I'm going to say a schmoz, and that Liv and Raquel will win sometimes in March or at WrestleMania.
I don't think that has anything to do with anything at this point. I really don't.
You'd be surprised.
If Trick Williams can lose in Black History Month, I think the EST and the Glow can lose as well.
Yeah, but you can't just keep doing it. You can do it once, maybe twice, but
I'm just saying they didn't do it on the main roster yet.
It's also weird timing because you have Jade return on Monday, but then you have Elimination Chamber on Saturday. Does that make it more or less interesting? It's one of those, it feels like they might save it.
Then why not save it for after the Chamber to begin with?
That's what I mean. That'll also be March.
Not a big fan, I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, you like reading Shakespeare to dogs like a fucking virgin.
That's true, I do. And watching him do the walk was a little uncomfortable, but that's fine. It's fine.
Do you want to talk about AEW? I don't, but you can talk
about it. God.
Neither of us watch Grand Slam because it's on my DVR right now. I forgot to watch it. I wanted to watch the two women's matches. I definitely did want to do that. I would not have watched anything else on that fucking piece of shit.
Well, I think it's hard for me because I'm excited that Toni Storm is back on top. I think that's wonderful. To me, she's the best thing on AEW television. Probably the only thing worth watching at this point. I think, honestly, Harley Cameron deserves a mile of credit.
Yeah.
She did
the puppet was a nice touch.
She did. She maximized her minutes. Obviously, we did not think the money train was going to stop, so it is what it is there. I don't care about anything else in that program. I'll be honest with you. So let's just get to what's going to be on Wednesday because this is, well, let's just get to it. We've got MJF and Hangman Page face to face. It's a thing. I'm sure it'll be a scathing promo back and forth.
I mean, they're great. I love both of them, but until Christian Cage is the AEW World Champion, it's hard for me to care about the men's singles division in AEW.
Something that is a head scratcher as I look at this graphic, it's saying the International Championship Series. What?
Didn't we just have a fucking continental breakfast tournament bullshit?
My question is, what exactly is this International Championship Series?
Who is the International Champion?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Joshua, because it starts with everybody's favorite OC versus everybody's favorite mechanic, Roderick Strong.
Yeah, but who's the actual champion?
The International Champion.
Yeah. Who is it?
Isn't it Takeshi?
You don't know.
Is it? I thought
Is
it was
it Takash? I thought he was the. Oh no, Okada's the Continental. He's in. They have too many fucking titles, man. I keep thinking the International. No, I think you're right. I just keep thinking the International and the Continental are the same thing, but they're two separate titles.
They are not. Not to be outdone, we've got a meaty match as Powerhouse Hobbs versus Big Bill in a street fight.
Can I watch just Powerhouse Hobbs wrestle, and can they blur out the rest of everything else on screen?
I mean, you could.
Because I don't want to see anything that associates with the fucking piece of shit guy who runs a cruise.
It's fine. And then finally, this one's a little bit of a look. We got the Ops. That's right, the Ops. The trio of the Ops. OPPS, Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook. They are called the Ops versus the Patriarchy in a 6-man tag. Whoo, doggy.
I like ciabatta bread, but I don't give a fuck about ciabatta.
I mean,
or this feud.
Don't give a fuck about ciabatta. That sounds like a fucking
going for like 12 months. Just give Christian the world title and let's move on. God's sakes.
I feel like Christian it couldn't be colder right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like they take the most red hot thing they have and they're like, how cold can we make it before we make him world champion? I present to you Jon Moxley. Piece of shit.
That Death Rider stuff is a tough watch.
You're gonna buy their white T-shirt for $30.
I can buy
a fucking Walmart and buy one for $2.
Yep.
What a fucking scam that company is. They can't sell tickets at events, so they're charging $30 for a white T-shirt. Fuck off, Tony Khan, you greedy piece of shit. Fucking.
Well, he doesn't need the money, but you know.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Terrible.
I don't know. I want it to succeed, but it's hard to watch. It's really what it comes down to. As a fan, it's hard to watch.
They need a world champion. We got to reset this shit. Got to reset it.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it, Joshua. Are you all set?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we thank you for listening and watching. The Jobber Knocker podcast will be back. Well, I'll be back next week.
I'm taking a week off. Peace out, bitches. Celtics play Tuesday, Wednesday.
So complain to him. I will have to find a mystery guest to fill the hole that is left by his manly meat. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobber Knockery.